Welcome to Dependable Flame, where we explore vintage petrol lighters, ashtrays, tobacciana, and other useful mechanisms. Make yourself at home. Today we are going to talk about some of the tools that I have found indispensable as I have endeavored to bring old cigarette lighters back to life. I got a comment on a video earlier in the week. Actually got several comments on that video from Depuy that morning, and one of them specifically asked for a toolkit video. I've never really done a specific inventory or anything like that. I do have everything that you see laid out here before you: drills, bits, picks, pliers, many different items that we're going to take a look at, and I'll explain a little bit of how I use those for either rewicking or clearing out flint tubes, or what part of vintage cigarette lighter repair they are employed. Number one, I'm going to start with drill bits. Drill bits are going to be the most important thing that you're going to use. You're going to be clearing a lot more flint tubes out than you are changing wicks. Unless you are Giovanni Abazia or someone who just likes to rewick every lighter that they have, then chances are you're going to be spending much more time with drill bits than you are with wicks trying to coax them down the chimney of lighters. So the number one drill bit that I would have at my disposal are these hex drill bits that will fit. You don't necessarily need a drill with a chuck for them. You can spin them with your hand, and a lot of times that will be plenty good enough. You spin them with your hand, you won't even need the drill. Now, there are times that you're going to need the drill, and not only that, but times that you need the drill when you need a longer drill bit than the hex has available for you. This drill has a chuck. It will grip a round drill bit. It will also grip the wire that you have seen me use on multiple occasions. I don't remember the last time I used this. Once I have gotten pretty good at disassembling and reassembling the mechanisms on the Ronson automatic type lighters, then I really haven't had the need to be fiddling around or spinning these wires around in the tubes. I'm usually able to get it clear another way, but there are still many occasions where you may need a wire like this to reach up into that flint tube to clear it out. It's not always possible to take the mechanism apart. These are the little flags that stick in the ground when they survey or when they're getting ready to dig, and the electric company or gas company comes out so that they know where not to dig. These are those marker flags, just with the flags removed and the adhesive stripped off of them. We have many kinds of screwdrivers. You see a precision set of 4 flat blade, 2 Phillips. Those are pretty good. They were cheap. I bought them at Harbor Freight, and they have fulfilled the vast majority of my needs. These I have had longer. These I bought at either Home Depot or Lowe's. Can't remember. I believe they're Irwin brand. Yeah. These are very good too. Have no complaints about them. Some of the others, the Craftsman and some of these other cheaper ones that I've had, they're alright. The Craftsman come in different qualities. You know, if you've used many Craftsman tools, then you'll recognize these. That's about what you would expect, and they work pretty well. But those type of tools are generally too big for the work that we're doing, except for fuel screws and flint spring screws. This size right here is just about right for most flint spring screws. You're going to need some beading wire, unless you just completely rely on IMCO type wicks with the wire lead, or the Zippo copper braided, copper woven type wick, then chances are you're going to need something at some point to send down that chimney before your wick so that you can fish it out. This wire beading, silver beading wire, 0.3 millimeter is perfect. You can tie it into knots. It works great. Got several iterations of pliers and at least one pair of cutters. You've seen me use these pliers often. These are my favorite, the short bent nose. They are very versatile and I use them a lot. I also have a couple of pair of needle nose, and this pair is a little bit more narrow. I need some that were made for really delicate, really intricate work, really small, maybe even children, like a child size needle nose. But for now, these are working okay. Also a brass wire brush, Fisker scissors, which are very handy, very good for cutting wicks and that sort of thing. You're going to need toothpicks of all varieties. Metal can damage your lighter, especially if you're using it to clean, say with a towel or something, to clean debris off of the lighter. You don't want to do that with a metal rod. You want to do that with something soft. And with toothpicks, you can usually achieve multiple contours and shapes so that you're not just poking the same thing in there and not getting every spot. You can get more spots because you got a sharp end and a flat end. You've got punches. Those come in handy for the Evans lighters. The Vise also comes in handy, mainly for the Evans lighters and pushing those rivets in and out, but also at times it comes in handy to put a screwdriver in the jaws of the vise and let that vise hold the screwdriver so that then you can place your lighter on top of it and have the other hand to work on the other side screw. I get that question all the time. What do I do if they keep turning? What do I do if I can't get it loose? Well, this is your best option right here. Put it in a vise or get somebody else to hold it. And even still, with the quality of metal that a lot of those old lighters were made out of, or the quality of the machining of the slots in those screws, you still may strip out those flathead screw slots. We've got feeler gauge blades. These are all thicker than are really handy. That's why they're still around. The thin ones, they tend to get used up. I use those for all kinds of purposes. So that pretty much covers it. Picks, these are my main two picks. These dental picks, that's really too flimsy. So there are times where I'll use this when I need something that I can bend around, but these kind of picks are really the best. These are my go-to picks, no doubt. These were also Harbor Freight purchases. Very inexpensive and very effective. Kind of glossed over the screwdrivers, talked about the precision screwdrivers, but this is one that is very handy to have as well, because not always do you have the ability to really get force behind, this may, if that blade was too wide or this is too long, you just can't get the right force you need to. Well, with something like this, then it's all short. You're not coming at that fuel screw from a weak position when you can have it all in here tight rather than out here. So a lot of times that'll come in very handy. Knife. You need the knife so that you can bloom out your wick. You can pretty much do the same job with a wider flat blade standard screwdriver, but a knife really does a good job, especially on the copper woven Zippo type wicks. Well, that was kind of a whirlwind for me. I'm not sure exactly if we hit everything or if I might have left out half of it. My apologies for my hands and the tool being out of frame at times. So again, not an exhaustive list. Make sure and ask you questions if I wasn't clear about what I use one of these particular tools for. Several of them have multiple purposes, but they all get used. There are still other tools that I left in there on the workbench simply because they don't get used. But all of these are definitely tools that have been in my hand and been employed upon a lighter in the work I do around here on a daily basis. Until next time.